on this rap-ish. I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list. Hope I ain't missing my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own. Tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues. Guess if you ain't at the table, you on the menu. And I'm that spitter, baby. They don't want you to see, but everybody's out to Capitol Hill's rocking with me. Boys smoke the trays and plan to getting their life together. I'm comfortable with my role, so I'm like, whatever. Me? I ain't got a job, but I work hard. And you don't work hard, but you got a job. The irony is I'm judged while you feel the applause. I'm slept on, that's why I had to set this alarm. My dudes is armed, I'm armed with this arm charm. Body banging like she got that cream from Barry Bonds. Yeah.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
That Dre season is here, a real hitter with a mic, I'm everything that they fear. With that hood ain't the same, I was all on their ass, I'm level-headed. So yo, my dudes love when I spaz, and I'm so over Seattle's passive-aggressive attitude. They don't call you back, what they really saying is F you. While I'm from the same place, I move at a different pace. I prefer if you just said it to my face, damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it
I hate
for
these
us.
average dudes with they average spit, writing average rhymes, knocking average chicks. The closer I get, I can feel the people starting to shift. I'm loyal to a fault, and everybody can't come with. Rap's a rich man's game, I'm only playing with change. They bang models and singers, I'm knocking my own flame, I'm different. The crowd, I move with the chosen few. Black thoughts, I could be the front man for the roots. No diamonds and gold, I'm on my sticks and stones. If we can see your panty line, you should have on a thong. My team is strong, through this fire we forged a bond. And they already know what it is when I get on. To the hearse, party like it's December 31st. When I'm on my deathbed, I probably cracking my nurse. You ain't got the bars to compete. I'm a verbal athlete, deflating these boys so they say that I cheat. Damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Yeah. I should probably start by apologizing for the long wait, man. You know, I know I be tripping. But I'm not just a rapper, I'm an artist. And, you know, my creative process is a little bit different than most. Nonetheless, I want to welcome everybody out to the Dre's Experience. I got TCF in the building. My whole camp's here with me. I got the band in here laying this cool-ass vibe. And I'm Seattle's own. Let's get into it.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Update Show. My name is Omari Salisbury. My good buddy, my partner in crime, Trey Holiday, has the whole week off this week. Well-deserved. And filling in, big fella himself, Jake Grabrot. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Happy hump day. We've made it to the middle of the week.
Yeah, that's saying this is day number 3. We haven't burned down the studio. So
Fortunately.
It's good stuff. We got a great show lined up for you today. We're joined by the twins, the Factorz, Ronald and Ronnel Moore. They're going to give us a preview of what we can expect tomorrow on the Factorz. We're also going to be joined by reporter Mike Davis of the South Seattle Emerald. He's going to be talking about what's going on in this King County prosecutor race. Remember, I was telling you that's going to be the race to really watch is King County prosecutor. And then we're joined by Brian Callanan from the Seattle channel. We got figure out he's going to let us know with the latest up there, the Seattle channel. And also, you know, Seattle News, Views, and Brews airs tonight at 7 o'clock with Brian Callanan and David Croman. So we got a lot of stuff going on today.
It's a busy day in the studio.
All right. You look nice today, by the way. Popping off the camera. Maybe it's that color, huh?
Yeah, you know, my ex used to say she always liked me in reddish tones. So every so often I'm like, oh, yeah, I heard that I look good in red. So, you know.
All right, good stuff. Let's get it going. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Update Show. I want to remind you that right now is the perfect time for you to tag and share the stream. Go ahead and tag and share the stream with people you feel would appreciate culturally relevant news and information emanating from right here in the Emerald City. Want to give a big shout out to our partners over at the South Seattle Emerald and also KBCS 91.3 over at Bellevue College. Let everybody know that you can listen to the Morning Update Show anywhere that you listen to your favorite podcast. Right there, you got SoundCloud up on the screen. You also go to Google, to iTunes. All you have to do is search Converge Media Network, and all the shows are there. Actually, the Art of the Matter is there. The Factorz TV is there. Clapback Culture, everything is there.
Yeah, that's where I always get a chance to tune in when I can't watch it live. So I always try to head over to the YouTube page, get some views over there.
All right, good stuff. Man, we got a link going in comments right now. This is coming over from Public Health, Seattle, King County. If you want to get vaccinated, if it's time for a booster shot, I know you said it's time to run. Did you go get a booster yet?
I haven't yet. I need to make sure that there's a day where potentially I'm going to get
weekend.
hit. Yeah, I got to make sure I don't miss the show.
Yeah, wait till do it on a Friday. But if you need a booster shot, if you need a testing locations as well. If you're vaccine hesitant, you got questions or concerns, click that link right there. Public Health, Seattle, King County, they'll look after you. And also the home kit, if you can go to freecovidtest.gov. The government, they're giving out free tests. They'll mail it to your house, freecovidtest.gov. This internship, KEXP, the days are winding down. This closes on the 15th. A fantastic opportunity here. $22 an hour, 15 hours a week, man. You can learn sound engineering, show booking, audio production, social media, all from the fantastic people over there at KEXP. Go to kexp.org/internships. Make sure and take advantage of that. And I think that we're getting the word out. The people at KEXP said that they're getting double the number of inquiries around internship as opposed to when they've promoted them or advertised them in the past. So big shout out to our Converge family out there for making people aware.
Yeah, that's great. And it's just one more reason why people should be putting their information out here on Black Media, because we got an audience that doesn't always reach the main news networks. So keep doing it.
There it is. We got a happy birthday, right? There he is. Happy birthday, Daryl DQ Glover. Man, that's our guy right there. A lot of people might not know, but the morning update show would have never came on air if it wasn't for Daryl Glover. That day, Jay Inslee had shut the state down. Everybody's on lockdown. And we were like, man, we need to do a live show. We need to, make something happen. But at the time, we didn't own any equipment for live streaming. We had some cameras, like studio cameras, but we didn't have any live streaming equipment. I called Daryl Glover. I said, hey, man, I got this idea. We want to do a morning show so we can update our community about what's happening with COVID. And we want to do it live, but we ain't got no equipment and we ain't got no money. And Daryl was like, don't even worry about it. And from that day forward, Daryl directed literally hundreds of episodes of the Morning Update Show.
He was one of the first people that I met actually while working for Converge, because when we were operating out of the shop, all of those live streams, and as Omari just mentioned, the ones prior to that, all of them were done thanks to the expertise and efforts of Daryl. And he is just one of the finest human beings. I love seeing him. We actually saw him this past weekend while we were up there for Epic Town's groundbreaking. And any of the on-site live shows that we do, Daryl is usually always there, and usually is the one that helps to provide the equipment for it. So happy birthday, my friend. We love you. We miss seeing you on a daily basis, but you're always in our thoughts.
Yeah, and also, Salman, can you put it on wide for us, please? Let's see. Are we able to get it? There, the logo is right there on the wall, and it says Dancing in the Rain Media, because Daryl Glover, A1 from day one. His logo is right there, center placement in the Black Media Matters studio. Happy birthday, DQ. I'll call you after the show. We got something right here. This is from the South Seattle Emerald, and it's the Green Book app. We got a link in the comments right there. You can go and read more about it there at the South Seattle Emerald. But man, these guys looks like this coming out of the Black and Tan, the new Black and Tan. They partner up. They have an app there. Seattle Green Book Tour app aims to keep local Black history alive. Do you know about the Green Book? What it's all about?
I actually do not.
Oh, okay. So the Green Book used to be put out, and if you was Black moving around America, you'd want to get a Green Book, because the Green Book would tell you, going into a city, which gas stations would actually serve you, or what restaurants to go to and what hotels to go to. And depending upon what part of the country you were in, it could have been a dangerous situation to go to, this restaurant that didn't serve Black folks, could be, or this gas station and everything else. So the Green Book was really a roadmap for Black people in navigating across America. And it's interesting because we talk about some of the good and bad with from segregation to integration. Well, the thing is things got integrated. The ideals of the owners never changed. They got integrated, but the end result of that is a lot of Black businesses, because Black people could only go to those businesses that went out of business. And so we see a revival here with the Green Book, and the Green Book is letting Black people and other people know, like, hey, these are Black businesses that welcome you and look forward to seeing you. And so they have one here for Seattle.
That's really interesting. And actually, recently I just started getting followed back an account on Instagram called Road Trippin' While Black, and that entire account does something very similar, but they do it for various different cities all across the country. And I've seen their posts more recently, and they've been really great at highlighting and spotlighting different Black businesses in various different cities all over the country.
Yeah, they gave us a shout out, didn't they?
They did, yeah.
Yeah, big shout out to them. Right back at them. Man, I want to make mention of this. There's a press conference that's happening at 12 o'clock, 24th and Pike. And this is the Black, we were talking about this, the Black Firefighters Association. They bought a house there in the Central District 40 years ago. And it looks like, don't have all the details, but it looks like the executive committee there has put this house up for sale without conferring with current members and previous and retired members of Black firefighters. And let me tell you how much Seattle has changed. There used to be so many Black firefighters in Seattle. The biggest annual thing was the Black Firefighters Ball. Like, imagine that. There used to be the Black Firefighters Ball here. I mean, man, you know what I'm saying? Everybody getting dressed up, big formal event, everything else. Clearly, times have changed here in the Emerald City, but yeah, it looks like they're trying to sell this house over there. And so some of the Black firefighters are raising awareness, and they're having a press conference there at 12 o'clock. And actually, one of the retired firefighters is going to be here tomorrow on the Morning Update Show.
We look forward to it, because obviously in this city we see far too often buildings and places that have a significance to neighborhoods and to culture. They're getting ripped out left and right. So we'll be interested to see this press conference at 12 o'clock today, what they have to say, and then tomorrow as well.
Yeah, no, man, for sure. It's just counterintuitive to everything about the city. If you got a piece of property owned by Black folks in the Central District to ever even, you know what I'm saying? And it's 100% paid off, no liens, no nothing. So we'll dig further into it. But right now, I got a nice motion graphic. There they are. It's the Factorz. Ronnel Moore and Ronald Moore. Salman, please bring the Factorz in.
Yo.
Hey.
There they are. Good morning, guys. How are you?
What's going on?
All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. I happen to have an opportunity to kind of look at your cheat sheet back there and see you got some real interesting topics. I know you guys record tonight. Yeah. It airs tomorrow at 9 o'clock, man. But go ahead and tell everybody what they can expect on this next episode of Factorz TV. This is episode 8, airing tomorrow night at 9 p.m.
We're going to be talking about a wide range of things. I know we're going to be speaking on pop culture stuff as far as Nelly and his mishap that he had, where his private part was leaked into the internet. We're going to be talking about Joe Biden and his crack pipe dreams. We're going to be talking about a lot of feminism and the movement, how it affected the Black community. We're going to be talking about a whole lot of things.
All right, and now, Twin, what's the feedback been from your audience so far? I know you guys we've done a lot of audio podcasts, and now it's a visual thing. Yeah. There's two good-looking brothers here, by the way. You know what I'm saying? What's the feedback been from the audience thus far?
We got a lot of good feedback, man. A lot of love. Topics that people say aren't really talked about in certain mainstream shows, and they really like that we speak for people that don't really have a voice, because that's what we represent, is the voiceless. And social media gives everybody a platform, but it's also having the word of mouth. It's also having the community outreach. So we've been getting a lot of good feedback on different topics. The intro got a lot of love. It's poetic. Then we got to use someone, Rollo Marlowe, shout out my guy, his song in there, him and Spaz produced, called Jackson Jazz, which is about Jackson Street. So it's so Seattle, man. It's just something that's amazing, and I think we're getting the feedback that we were looking for. But also, it's kind of been like eye-opening to know that the love is continuous. You think there's a limit on love, but love is a lifetime of effort. So we appreciate all the support, man. It's been amazing, and we're gonna keep going. It's only gonna get better, man. It's only gets greater.
Yeah, and we have your world-class photographer right
Oh
here.
man, Jake, you baby, man.
Jake.
I'm glad you're getting 8 down in the Everglades. I was hoping you didn't run into a mean old crocodile. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad you made it out, man. It's good to see you. But this is
I
a very
would have
talented
wrestled that crocodile.
dude.
Jake, you're looking good in that red, that burgundy, brother. You look good.
I know you look good over there, huh?
She didn't lie to you. She didn't lie.
My mama in the comments, she said the same thing. Ooh, Jake looked good today in that red.
Red, buddy.
Hey,
I'll wear it every day, though.
let me tell you guys this, but before I let you go, right, is right now there's a lot of communication and a lot of people want to come on and advertise on the Converge platform, right? And we're amenable to advertisers, kind of. We could probably have a lot more advertisers if we was just all about the money, but our people and our brand mean the most. So anyways, I'm having a conversation with an agency, one here in California, Texas, and everything else, and they're talking about the Factorz, because we really want to roll out some stuff with the Factorz, right? And they were like, well, maybe we can tweak some stuff here, tweak some stuff there. I said, well, some parts of our platform we can be amenable, but I said, you know what, with the Factorz, with Ronald and Ronnel Moore, their authenticity of who they are, how they relate to our community and everything else, I said, we not touching 1 inch of them or anything. I said, we'll walk away from anything. So I just want to let you guys know how much we appreciate your realness, your authenticity, and your connection to the streets. I'm still in these conversations. I got a call on Friday morning. We'll see what happens. But man, I'm proud to be able to say, like, these guys, nah, they not putting on the shiny pants and dancing or something.
and I actually appreciate that, because that's how media usually goes. At first you're real raw, uncut, and then when different companies come in, partnerships, they try to adjust you, monetize you, tell you how to move. So I appreciate that, just keeping us real raw and uncut, because that's what's got us this far with the love, respect for the community, is just being ourselves. And relating to everybody else, in general, not putting ourselves here or there or dissecting and breaking down, our shows or what we say. We're being us and being honest. I appreciate you giving us a platform to be that too.
Yeah, for
no
sure.
doubt.
Representing us. Appreciate you representing us, man. It's hard to be recognized and represented when your back's, turned. So, man, appreciate you keeping it authentic and letting them know that, hey, not only myself, Omari, but the guys I run with, they're thorough, they're real. And the tweaking you want to do, it's going to be some other tweaking that they can want to do. So I appreciate you, Big O.
Yeah, no, A1 from day one, man. Look, we got to cut you guys loose here. We get on the wide, Mr. Summer. There you go. We got to cut you guys loose. It's the Factorz TV tomorrow night, 9 p.m. across all platforms. And if you guys got any questions or any topics for the Factorz, go ahead and put it in the comments right now. You got anything?
I just want to say, obviously you guys have been doing the podcast stuff for a while, but it's been really cool to be in the studio and watch this turn into something, live like this. And I know you're just getting started. We're just getting started with this, and I can't wait to see where everything goes.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you.
You guys have got a voice that's worth being heard, and there's so many different voices that are on this network, but I think that really to be able to see you guys run with this is an exciting
Jake,
thing.
Man, you know what, man?
Tear me up.
Thank you, dog.
All right, man. We gotta get you guys out of here, man. Look forward to seeing you tonight in the studio when we record, and we'll catch the episode tomorrow night at 9 p.m.
All right, see you guys later. Appreciate.
All right. The fact, listen, I had to tell him. I was like, with these guys, these twins, my friend, I was like, we ain't give an inch. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because it's like, the best thing is here at Converge, we can't miss what we never had. So yeah, we can't miss some huge deal if we never, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, nah, if worst come to worst, our people will always come first and being authentic and who we are. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in just staying the course, you know, keeping
Yeah.
your vision, keeping that straight ahead. What's the thing that you like to say often? Just work hard, stay humble.
Yeah, work hard, stay humble, take your ass home. There it is. All right, we got another motion graphic here. No, it's Brian Callanan. Sorry, I forgot to tell you we mixed the order up. And Brian is in the house too. There, look at him, man. Look at that picture, ready to fight. Brian Callanan, host and moderator from the Seattle channel. He's getting ready to pop in, talking about man, he's got a few different things. I think we got a clip from Governor Inslee back there too. We're gonna go over. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
Hey guys, Beta Gordon here, and before heading to Belize, Trey Holiday and I had to make sure we linked up with our good friends over at Market Street Shoes to, of course, grab a few things for the trip. From bags to socks, shoes, sunglasses, earrings, and more. Before going on any trip, make sure you stop at Market Street Shoes. Trust me, you'll find just what you need to make your trip not only enjoyable, but fashionable. Hey guys, Besa Gordon here with some much needed information about what's happening in our communities when it comes to COVID-19 in 2022. Omicron is actually the latest COVID-19 variant and honestly is hitting our local communities and hospitals pretty hard. You can help out by 1, making sure you are vaccinated, 2, making sure you have your booster, and 3, simply masking up. As we learn more about COVID-19, we're also learning more about how the vaccine works best. A booster shot 2 to 5 months after your COVID-19 vaccine significantly improves protection against COVID and its many variants. If you need a COVID-19 vaccine or a booster, there are free options for transportation and childcare that are available. To learn more about all of your options and where you can get your booster shot, go to kingcounty.gov/COVID/vaccine.
I say to you, community, let's take up space. We weren't supposed to make it through the vast Atlantic or back to the door of no return. So shine like the gold in our skin and the first porch light ever lit. 'Cause we lit and we stay lit. It is with love that everything we touch is ablaze with brilliance. We made jazz and had the blues so hard we're still nodding our heads, but this time we sampled What a Wonderful World. What a way to escape the pain and revel in joy. To the Marsha P. Johnsons who woke up our pride. To the Jimi Hendrix who burned his guitar. For the tennis-playing sisters, for those who didn't make it. And I promise not to fake it. We still want our 40 acres, a mule, and reparations. To the barbers and stylists who still carry on tradition. For the laughter through the tough times, the dead and the living that we hold sacred. To be a people who built empires out of sticks and stones and turned the names they called us into songs. We are still here.
All right, welcome back to the Morning Update Show. Joined now by Brian Callanan, host and moderator over at the Seattle channel, just a few blocks from here, and also co-host of Seattle News, Views, and Brews, which people can see tonight at 7 o'clock. You and David Croman, how are you?
I'm doing really well, and thank you for having me once again, Omar. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's your house.
Yeah,
you know
well, it's good to be part of this house, that's for sure.
No, you know, I mean, and Brian, just let everybody know, Brian has been part of our Converge family for well over a year, year and some change, year and a while, right?
It's been more than a year, and it's been really cool to be part of it. I remember first talking to you about this when I was working with Kevin Schofield, and I know he was doing some work with you, and I think it's important to make those connections between people who are doing some different work following local government like I do for Seattle Channel, and Converge, which is about that too, about connecting with the community. So I appreciate the partnership a lot. It means a lot to me to be a part of Converge, and I just like continuing to spread the word wherever I can about stuff that's going on with city government, et cetera.
All right. Well, let's start there, and
Yeah.
then we can talk about what's coming up on
Sure.
tonight's episode.
Yeah.
What's happening in city government?
Oh, man. How much time we got here? I did want to talk about a few pieces here. One that was very interesting. I'm going to talk about it a little bit on the show tonight. There was actually a resolution that was passed by the city council yesterday talking about unionizing Starbucks, that the council was in support of that, right? So Councilmember Sawant brought this up. She has made no secret that she's pro-union and she really wants to support these people. There's a handful of stores around Seattle who have shown some interest in this. So anyway, she brought a resolution before the city council yesterday and was talking about this, and it got pretty heated, as a matter of fact. Councilmember Juarez actually had to shush everybody, put the mute button on everybody there. So Council President Juarez was on top of that because Councilmember Sawant and Councilmember Mosqueda were fighting about who's more on the side of unions, et cetera, and who's putting out the right information. It got very heated there. We'll run that tape at some point. I don't have it with me right now, but the upshot of it is there was a resolution that was passed. 6-0 is the way it went down. Sarah Nelson and Alex Peterson were not in support of it, but didn't vote no. One of those type of deals where they abstained from the vote. So it's one of these situations where I really see this council as trying to establish its voice in support of labor, and they've definitely done that. But there are a couple of voices on there too that are trying to support businesses. So that's the other piece of this that I'm not quite sure. It's going to be interesting to see this dynamic play out between the labor voices that are on the council and the ones that are in support of business. But yeah, it was a very interesting meeting that happened right there.
Yeah, well, I mean, labor has been in support of some of these people sitting on
You
the
better
council,
believe it, yeah.
and has funded campaigns and,
Mhm.
and door knocked for them and
Yeah.
mail-ins and phone calling and everything else. I mean, clearly it's not a one-way street
No,
in politics,
No,
my friend.
no. And this whole idea of having a resolution, I wanted to make sure I was clear on this. This is something that is non-binding. The fact that the council actually made a decision to pass this resolution does not mean that it's going to insert itself in any way into the actual labor negotiations. It was just more of a token there to try to say we're in support of this.
What is Starbucks saying, if anything at all?
They're pushing back, as you might imagine. There's been some story that they've actively pushed back, although the company is denying that piece of it. Essentially, they've seen this actually play out in places like Arizona, where there have been some workers who have gotten together to organize for Starbucks. Starbucks is trying to say here locally, if we do this store by store, then we don't have a good idea of what's going on. There should be a district type of a thing. However, in the courts, that whole district argument hasn't played out so well. The courts have generally sided with people who want to have these type of unionization situations going on. So I think this will be an interesting issue. David Croman brought it up with me in the podcast about this. It's really interesting because you think about it, we're in the birthplace of Starbucks right here in Seattle. If something happens with this issue here locally here, I think it's going to be a really big deal.
Yeah, no, that's real interesting.
Yeah.
I saw they held a Councilmember Sawant held a press conference out there at Starbucks.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago. Yeah, we ran a clip of that in the show, and she actually donated some of her own dollars from her solidarity campaign towards this effort to try to make this happen for the Starbucks workers. So clearly something that has risen to the fore here in terms of what the council is talking about with this resolution, but many, many more issues behind the scenes there when it comes to what the company's doing with this and what workers are doing too.
All right, good stuff. What else is going on?
We've been following a couple of things. Actually, it was a meeting this morning for the council's Economic Development Committee, which I thought was really interesting. They're talking about trying to help out small businesses in our area here. And specifically what we're talking about here, folks, are people who are getting their windows busted up. We're talking about people who've seen prowling around their area, et cetera. So a lot of these small businesses are now meeting with the city council to say, okay, what are we going to do here? How can we get some more people out on the street, even if they are not sworn officers, to try to patrol these different areas, make sure we have some eyes out there. They're talking about that, trying to find some alternatives to police, because I think kind of the atmosphere that we're talking about with surrounding this story is, we've heard it from the Downtown Seattle Association. Usually they'll hire on officers from the SPD who have some overtime hours. They'll usually do that. But right now the SPD is saying, hey, we can't spare anybody. We can't give you that extra shift worth of people. So the DSA is saying, wait a minute, we have to hire some private security, et cetera. So I think there's a lot more to that conversation when it comes to what the SPD is going to do and really what the council is going to do here. They're listening to concerns. They heard from people who are all around the area, West Seattle, U District, SoDo, all over the place here. So they're hearing from a lot of businesses. Sarah Nelson is the council member who's in charge of that committee for economic development. She's going to have to make some decisions there as to what are some different programs they can actually fund. Would they set aside some money for a broken door, broken window fund? There's been some talk about that. Will they try to work more closely with Seattle Police Department to get a better 911 response time? So a lot of different issues in the mix there. A committee meeting today to start that conversation and invite some more businesses in.
All right. And how is Sarah Nelson managing? That's one of the newest members here on the council. How is she managing that committee?
I think so far so good. It is very early yet. She took about the first month in office to not hold any meetings at all and kind of get her feet underneath her. I think this is one of those first substantial meetings she's really had in that economic development piece, economic development chair, because she really ran on that platform of listening to small businesses, making sure their concerns were heard from. So I think we still have yet to see, Omari, can she actually bring in these businesses? Can she actually have their voices heard at a higher level up in the mayor's office, et cetera?
Yeah. I mean, and you know, this broken windows, broken doors.
Yeah, right. A lot of that.
They're going to run into some issues with that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And how do we pay for it? I think that's the big piece of it.
I mean, so here's the thing is that I think that people's concerns are always kind of been heard one way or another in the city, but it's like, what's the action?
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
No, I get.
Seattle's one of those
exactly
kind of cities where we're like, man, I want to hold space for you.
Sure.
For me to understand your lived experience, and internalize. And then, you know, you leave there thinking like, oh, I was hurt. But then, like, you know,
now what happened?
You know,
and I mean, you're very right about that. And I think what Councilmember Nelson can do is potentially some of these different things, like setting aside a fund that would pay for these different broken windows, doors. I mean, that's one piece of it. The part of it that I'm concerned about, though, in terms of action that could potentially happen down the line, I don't think she can promise, hey, we're going to hire 100 new cops by tomorrow, because it just doesn't work like that. I mean, yes, the SPD is lower in officers than they've been in some time, but it takes a while for those officers to work through the training pipeline and actually come online. That's one piece of it we got to keep an eye on.
Yeah, well, I mean, we see what's happening here too, is neighborhoods and districts that can afford private security.
That's a very good point.
Private security, and I mean, there's business owners in all parts of Seattle. But more affluent or people that have funds, they have their private security. You know, I walk home every day, and you walk through Westlake, and you know there's armed security over there. There's armed security at quite a few places here downtown.
Yeah.
For us, there's no armed security in front of our building here on First Avenue.
No.
So we've mastered, you know, building relationships with our brothers and sisters who are here out front. And, you know what I'm saying?
Which isn't always easy, I know. And I think you make a very good point there when it comes to equity in this city. If these different places are doing private security, well, hey, city of Seattle, should we have equal protection all around in all the neighborhoods? Yeah,
I mean, and then also it's like, you know, some business districts and groups are way more organized and have way more
vocal
lobbying power downtown. But
does
that mean that their need is more valid than, say, another business district is there? You know, I mean,
I don't think so. I don't think so at all.
I wonder, like, you know, does Little Saigon have the same lobbying power and oomph? Yeah. And when you're talking about going to City Hall, when you might be talking about one of these other affluent neighborhoods in the city.
Right. And I think that's the big part of the conversation here. And you've heard that different issue, I think, a lot over the past several years as we've split into district representation at the council. So Downtown Seattle Association, clearly a very powerful lobby, and they've got a ton of money there. But I think you've heard it from a few of the different council members out there. Those districts need to be put at that same level there. They need to have that same amount of importance. However, you're absolutely right. In terms of lobbying power, you've got a lot of people in more affluent neighborhoods who are knocking on the doors a lot more strongly. So I think that's part of the conversation that Sarah Nelson's trying to have now, is trying to bring a few more people in the door and trying to not just listen, but have some action on it. And I'm not quite sure where that's going to turn out. But I do know there were business leaders from all around Seattle today talking to her today and talking about concerns.
Were they talking more about like crime in general, or were they talking about homelessness as far as impacting their business?
A little bit of both, I would say, in terms of people who were outside their businesses or whatever, or prowling or whatever else. I don't want to make a direct connection between homelessness and crime because I don't think that's right. But I think they are trying to say, okay, we've got a certain type of I guess, situation in front of my business that lends itself to people sleeping there. Maybe it lends itself to people breaking in a window or whatever else. How do we change that situation? And what they're actually talking about is a series of programs. I don't have all of them off the top of my head, but I do know that they are trying to set up something such that they have some patrols going around a neighborhood who are not officers, not sworn officers. How can we spread that all around the neighborhoods a little bit more? They're also talking about this fund that would get set up, a city fund that would actually pay for broken doors, broken windows, so they can try to recover some losses there. So it's a bit of a complicated situation. I know they're also talking about getting a better 911 response as well, but they're trying to lay out some programs that would be supported by the council and the mayor so they can get some help.
Yeah, let's see what happens. I mean, I would hate to see, the further criminalization of homelessness. Agreed. You know what I'm saying, in Seattle. I mean, I come here early morning, late night, sometime in the middle of the day. Luckily, not during the morning update show, but we get people right here on the street, man. Right. We get people. I mean, they sleep over there. I check on them. What's up, man? You good? Yeah, man, I'm good. I'm just resting. And usually, to be honest with you, though, I haven't one time, because I always say, hey, man, we're just on the inside of this door. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And people, they be ready to move. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, nah, man, chill out. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. We got something in here, man. Take your time. Yeah. I mean, like what? Like, I'm going to call 911 and be like, oh, there's a guy who's just sleep here in the door and everything else. They might need to invest some money as well in just like, man, communication type of skill. That don't work for everybody. Clearly, somebody's trying to break into your business is much different than someone who's unhoused and finding shelter in your doorway. Right. You know what I'm saying? And because that's how we've always approached it. 100% down here is, man, let's see where we can find some common ground around some humanity with this person who's right here. Yeah. And it's cool. We got a good relationship with everybody who's on this street. I wish that we could do more.
Yeah. And I think this is part of a bigger conversation and certainly a power struggle that we saw playing out in the elections of November here. But we also have a city attorney, remember, Omari, in Ann Davison, who's saying, hey, I'm cracking down on misdemeanors. I'm making sure that I clean up this street, et cetera, and whatever else. And I'm interested to see how that plays into the conversation, because just last week we heard from Mayor Harrell saying, all right, I'm going to try to stay in my lane and let the city attorney do her job, et cetera. Yeah.
Mayor Harrell was there like, oh, man, he was like, yeah, that's just my lane. I'm going to let the person that people elected do whatever. Well, man, man, it would be a shame if Ann Davison, just to prove a point here, is just, I mean, like, being poor is not a crime.
Agreed. Yeah.
Right? There's criminal elements in every level here of our society. Yeah. And this is the lowest sometimes people we see at the low level crime. Don't forget, just in certain areas of Seattle, you got people doing insider trading, all kinds of everything else. Yeah. And they're doing crimes for millions and hundreds of millions of dollars. Yeah. We're seeing visible crime here, you know what I'm saying, on the streets. Yeah. But putting all that to the side, and I'm not talking about people who are, breaking the law. Sure. I'm talking about you can't criminalize poor people.
No.
For people who are poor, putting them in jail is not the answer. You can't villainize someone just for being poor. Yeah. And, we can't come. It's not too often. I just kind of chill. I kind of, talk my little talk or whatever. But if this city makes a move to want to just villainize and criminalize people for being poor, my friend, they're going to have a problem.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think that's part of the power struggle that I'm talking about right now. We will see how that plays out. And I think we heard from Councilmember Andrew Lewis, whose district includes this part of downtown here where you are, Omari. And I think he's talking about, okay, wait a minute. We need to make sure that we're careful in terms of how these misdemeanors are applied here, and be very careful with this whole idea of, okay, misdemeanors are one thing. Felonies, what you're talking about, breaking that's the county prosecutor's job, and those do need to be prosecuted.
Right. I mean, but because the thing is also, we need to remember that, as someone from my lived experience and journey, the Seattle Police Department can always articulate. I remember being a kid there on 23rd and Cherry.
Okay.
you know, and the officer at the time, they was just effing with us.
Yeah.
And you know, and my brother's car is parked right there, and he told us how he was going to pencil whip us. He said, I can articulate with my pen that your car is parked more than 12 inches from the curb.
Oh boy.
And here you go.
Yeah.
And you just get a citation.
Right.
And so the other thing is black people stay in the system with fines.
Yeah.
And all these other things and everything else. So it's interesting. So I'm just saying certain people in this city might look at a solution as one way, and other people who've been on the other side of that, it's at the officer's discretion.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, an officer, you're jaywalking, officer could honk it, but let me get out the street.
Right.
Or very well could be like, hey, I'm gonna, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, you know, I come to find out I could talk to you all day, but we got Mike Davis in the green room there.
Yeah.
We got one more thing here, and I know you got a clip. Tell us about it.
I wanted to tell people briefly about it, and it's about some of these issues about homelessness. The state of Washington is trying to work more closely with cities like Seattle and other jurisdictions around the state when it comes to people who are sleeping on state Department of Transportation land, like underneath freeways, et cetera, highways and all that. The governor was talking about this last week. He's also mentioned that the state has invested a lot of money. You might remember back in Ballard just about a month or so ago, he was saying, hey, $815 million. We're talking about housing and homelessness. But he also is saying the money is not necessarily the only part of the equation here. Here's what he said last week.
So we have made significant investment, but obviously the problem has got worse. We know funding is crucial, but funding is not enough to move quickly against this urgent situation. As more units are built, it begs the question, how do we work with local governments to get people into them in a compassionate, meaningful, and coordinated manner?
I just wanted to make sure I pointed out what the governor was saying there, because he's talking about establishing an office, an actual office at a state level that would work with local jurisdictions to try to make sure that this situation is dealt with. There's a Senate bill out there, 5662, which is worth following. You've got a lot of interest about this, and I'm hopeful that this doesn't just turn into an office for the sake of having an office, because shoot, I mean, cities and the state should have been working together a long time ago, right? On an issue like this.
I talked to Peace Anwar, who is a civil rights commissioner out in the city of Spokane last night. And what he told me is Spokane has, I think what he said is 150 shelter beds.
Yeah.
But the city of Spokane, there's supposed to be a law, especially because of the extreme temperatures they go through there in the summer and the winter, that if the shelter beds are full, then you can't be arrested. They can't sweep.
Yeah.
But it's 150 shelter beds, and the shelter beds have been full. And what they're saying is the police are arresting and sweeping.
Yeah, and the law that you're talking about there is something that was established by the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. They're basically saying, hey, you can't arrest people for vagrancy or whatever else if you don't actually have a place to put them. That's a big part of this.
Right. And also what they're doing there in Spokane is they're putting up fencing and other places and everything else. So it's a real interesting story developing out, but because in Spokane, the reason why the commissioner over there reached out is but because they're saying that homeless people, unhoused people with no shelter and their shelter are full are being arrested for things like jaywalking.
Sure, right.
You know what I'm saying? They're not even being cited. They're being arrested and put in jail. Right. So I mean, it's good if the governor has a statewide approach on this. We'll see what happens.
We will, and I think the important part is that we are seeing this more as a statewide issue here. It's not just, hey, this is something that's only happening in Seattle and King County. We got to get real about it. These reports have been happening in Spokane County, here, Skagit County, all over the place. So I like seeing it at a state level, and I hope this response turns into something.
All right, good stuff. Brian, tell people how they can follow you on social media.
Thank you very much. Callanan Seattle is where I'm at on Twitter. Make sure you check that out. Callanan13 on Instagram. I pop it a little bit there too. I'd like to have people join our show, Seattle News, Views, and Brews, on Patreon. If you'd like to support independent media, we certainly would appreciate that help there. And Omari, always a pleasure. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no doubt. And yeah, our people on Patreon, this is Seattle News, Views, and Brews is definitely a platform worth supporting. And Brian Callanan has tirelessly
I get tired sometimes, but yeah,
tirelessly updated, our viewing audience. That's why I thought it was important. A long time ago, I was like, man, you need to come on here because you can always give insights that our viewers would appreciate.
I'm going to keep on trying to do it. Thanks for helping me out, Omari.
All right. Next up, there, yeah, I caught him off guard over there. See, next up, he's in the green room. We got Mike Davis. He's a reporter with the South Seattle Emerald. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
Hey guys, Besa Gordon here, and before heading to Belize, Trey Holiday and I had to make sure we linked up with our good friends over at Market Street Shoes to, of course, grab a few things for the trip. From bags to socks, shoes, sunglasses, earrings, and more. Before going on any trip, make sure you stop at Market Street Shoes. Trust me, you'll find just what you need to make your trip not only enjoyable, but fashionable. Hey guys, Besa Gordon here with some much needed information about what's happening in our communities when it comes to COVID-19 in 2022. Omicron is actually the latest COVID-19 variant and honestly is hitting our local communities and hospitals pretty hard. You can help out by 1, making sure you are vaccinated, 2, making sure you have your booster, and 3, simply masking up. As we learn more about COVID-19, we're also learning more about how the vaccine works best. A booster shot 2 to 5 months after your COVID-19 vaccine significantly improves protection against COVID and its many variants. If you need a COVID-19 vaccine or a booster, there are free options for transportation and childcare that are available. To learn more about all of your options and where you can get your booster shot, go to kingcounty.gov/COVID/vaccine.
All right. Welcome back to the Morning Update Show. Jake Grabrot back here on the set. What's up, man?
Hey, good conversation right there. That's all interesting stuff.
Yeah, no, real good conversation. Conversation is going to continue to improve here as we bring in Mike Davis from the South Seattle Emerald. Mike.
What's up, Mike?
I think you're muted, Mike. Watch, here comes the face. Oh.
Wow, you got me, man. What's up, y'all? Jake, what's up, man? It's been a while.
I know, man. It's good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Mike, did you see our conversation, me and Brian Callanan?
Yeah, I did.
Man, I think it would be good to get me, you, Brian, somebody else, you know what I'm saying, to sit in here and just chop it up, right? It's a good discussion.
We should. I'm down. Let me know when. You know I'm there.
I know you're down. And let's get to the formalities first, right? Before we jump into this prosecutor race. No clapback culture on this Thursday. You guys are taking a week off. But the following Thursday, Mike Davis and Julia Jesse will be right here in the studio, right? First time ever doing clapback culture together in the Black Media Matters studio.
Yes, I'm excited. And from what I've heard, Jake is going to take some pictures of us too. So, you know, it's a reunion.
Yeah, indeed. I'm looking forward to it. It's been over a year now.
It has, man. We need some fresh ones. I'll be ready. I'm going to go get fresh, man. Don't worry about it.
Look at it. That's not going to be hard for Mike. All right, Mike. So we've been talking about this, and on February 1st, and unfortunately, I can't remember his name, but on February 1st, this brother announced he was running for King County prosecutor and released the ad. I remember because we played that here, right? Stephen Thomas. And we were saying then that, man, this prosecutor race is going to be real interesting. I think it's going to be pretty polarizing. But, man, what are you finding out?
I mean, I think so. When you look at the candidates that have announced, I mean, you got Stephen Thomas, of course, who worked in the King County prosecutor's office. He did a lot of the community work. He partnered with Choose 180 Community Passageways to look at new initiatives for the office. But you also got, you know, King County Council member Rod Dombrowski. You know, he's also done a lot of work, especially like with juveniles and ending solitary confinement for them. You got Federal Way Mayor Jim Farrell. He spent 16 years as the King County senior deputy prosecutor. And then you got Lisa Mannion, who has 27 years of experience, including 15 years as chief of staff. So you got a lot of folks with a lot of experience, a lot of folks that have talked about criminal justice reform. I think that the difference is going to be in those specific approaches to criminal justice reform. And I think that that was the most interesting part of my time with Stephen Thomas.
Yeah, So Stephen Thomas, I mean, and yeah, clearly you saw his ad. I mean, he just puts it all the way out there. I mean, if you ever wanted to know about his story in 1 minute and 27 seconds, he puts it all. I grew up in Chicago. You know, my father was this and that, and everything else. Man, did time. And I mean, but it's a great story. And I guess, you know, part of that ad is he wants to be able to tell people about his lived experience that he would bring to the job.
Well, you know, it's interesting that you took his story that way, because to be honest, I took it that way too. And The Stranger, Rich Smith at The Stranger, wrote a really good article on Stephen Thomas before I did. And what I picked up from that article was, okay, you're telling us the story. You're telling us about the South Side of Chicago. You're telling us about the drugs, the abuse, the violence. You're telling us all of that. But what you're not telling us is the how. How did he get from that to where he is now? And more importantly, you're not giving us the why. Why did he make that shift from that gang life to being on the side of the cops, basically, you know? And like, as a member of the Black community, why should I trust anybody that wants to be a prosecutor? You're the one that wants to lock people up. So when I sat down with him, that was the way that I got to frame our conversation. And yeah, so if you want to dive in, we could definitely talk about some of his answers there.
Yeah, so hold on. First of all, when is your article coming out?
It's out. It came out.
Out.
Yes, it's out right now.
Okay, so yeah, so I mean, what are some of the things that really jumped out to you then in your interview?
Well, I think what jumped out to me is his self-awareness, you know, because when I'm hearing his story and I'm hearing about the South Side and I'm hearing the gangs, what I'm saying is, how do you go from that to being able to be in the King County prosecutor's office? Like that's a major shift. Not a lot of brothers get a chance to actually turn their life around that much. That's drastic. And what I learned was that he's half white, and he has a white mom, and he has an affluent white grandmother. So yeah, he grew up on the South Side of Chicago, but his mom was a professor at a college. So during the summers, man, his grandma was German. He would go travel in Europe, and he would take sailing lessons and rock climbing lessons. And he had this whole life outside of the South Side. So he had one specific situation. He's with the homies. They go to a lake. There's some rival gangs there. People start pulling out guns. He ducks and hides, and, you know, bang, bang, bang. There's a shooting, and he runs. So because he ran, you know, his homies from the block is like, man, we don't do that. So one of those guys ended up robbing him. And instead of having to retaliate like so many of his friends will have to do in that situation, he was able to get on the phone, call grandma. Grandma flew him out to California the very next day. Boom, he's out in the South Side. I think that is a really big piece of his story, and he has the self-awareness to know that a lot of his homies that he grew up with on the South Side didn't have that white grandma with money that they could just call, that could just get him about the neighborhood when stuff goes sour. Because his mom worked at a college, when he decided to make the shift and go back to school, he got to go to school for free. I think that the privilege that he had in the face of all of his homies not having that privilege put him in a place to want to create opportunities for others to have some of that privilege as well. And when you look at his approach to criminal justice, I think that it's definitely reflective of those personal experiences.
Man, you guys was chopping it up.
Oh, we was chopping it up, man. But oh man, I like bro, and I see Mama Walden out there too. And one thing that he stands on is the fact that he's not an abolitionist. Because when you hear a lot of the stuff he's saying, I'm like, okay, well, you're super progressive. We just had a progressive run in Seattle, and we went with the lock 'em up approach. And he made it clear that, you know, he is not an abolitionist. He can think of many situations where folks need to be locked up. He grew up on the South Side. He met actual monsters, people that there probably isn't another choice besides incarceration. But he also met a lot of people who did need a different chance and a different path. And he believes that Incarceration shouldn't be our default. Incarceration should be the alternative. Our default should be diversion. Our default should be programs. Our default should be help. And you know, he had drug abuse in his past. He went to rehab. He got his stuff together. He experienced restorative justice firsthand, and he wants to bring large scale restorative justice to King County.
You know, what I anticipate in this race is I think that once it really gets going and the TV ads come out, we're going to have like some Willie Horton type ads. Like, I really like, I hope it don't go there, but I think this race for King County prosecutor is probably going to be one of the ugliest, nastiest races that we've seen. We've already seen a lot of signaling from some of the candidates there. We've seen a lot of posturing and puffery. We've already, you know what I'm saying? Like, people are already signaling where they're going with this. That's just me though. But what are your thoughts?
I think you're absolutely right. And I want to be careful how much I speak on some of the other candidates, because I do plan on speaking to everyone that I mentioned, and we're putting that together. And I would love to come right here with you each time and talk it out. But I think that one thing that Stephen Thomas is doing right now to help himself is getting in front of all of that. So of course we're going to have those types of ads. Of course it's going to get ugly, but I think that he's doing a good job right now of putting all his cards on the table. You know, so it's like, if he's telling you that he was in gangs, he's telling you he was involved in violence, he was telling you he got arrested 7 times as a juvenile, he's telling you he was an addict, he's telling you all of these things, then it's going to be harder for people to attack him with that, because that's stuff that's already out here.
Yeah, no, I mean, and hopefully he continues to tell people how, you know, his privilege gave an option.
Yes,
you know
I appreciate that. Oh, I mean, he was very upfront about that. Like, he didn't hide from the fact that having that grandma is probably what saved his life. Having that grandma is the reason why his homies are in prison, and he is an attorney. That's amazing.
All right, Mike Davis, we gotta cut you loose, man. Tell everybody how they can keep up with you.
Man, Clapback Culture. Thursday, 7 p.m. We are not on this week, but next week, me and Julia will be live in studio. And in the in-between time, I'll be right here Wednesday mornings on the Morning Update Show, kicking it with Uncle.
All right, Mike, we'll talk to you soon, Chief.
All right, see y'all later.
Hi, Mike.
Yeah, man, Mike is sitting there breaking it down, huh?
Yeah, and I mean, he brings up some great points, and something that I immediately kind of latched onto too in that conversation was, you know, how the prosecutor, the guy who's running, Stephen Thomas, how he had opportunities when he was young that gave him a perspective that allowed him to see maybe that there was an outcome that wasn't just exactly where he was living in that moment. And that is definitely something that you've traveled over the years. You know, you've given your kids an opportunity to travel over the years. I've traveled over the years, given my son a chance to travel over the years, and that kind of perspective. When you have those kind of opportunities, you know, it definitely is a privilege, and it's obviously played into where he's at right now.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting. We're going to stay on top of this race here for prosecutor. Like I said, we'll see how it plays out. I see it kind of getting ugly, but let's flip it to the opposite of ugly. Man, I am very excited for tomorrow. Tomorrow we have Kyle Abraham. Kyle Abraham is going to be right here in the Black Media Matters studio. Real excited. Kyle is at the Moore Theater tomorrow night as well. So it's great. Like, we're getting him the same day of the show. Really excited.
Yeah, I'm super excited. And obviously, you know, we've been talking about this show over the course of the last couple of days here, but I'm really excited to see what all this guy has to say. And you know, we're talking about D'Angelo in this performance. So, you know, I'm going to be listening intently.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, it's like Kyle is an amazing dance choreographer. And so I can only imagine. That's what I was saying in the description. It's kind of, matter of fact, I need to let me break this down here for our audience, right? This creative exhalation plays homage to the complexities of self-love, Black love, while serving as a thumping mixtape, celebrating our culture, family, and community. So I'm going to tell you right now, you know, you guys, make sure you tell everybody, tune in tomorrow for the morning update show, man, as we uplift Kyle Abraham, man, and his work. And also, Salman, I think if you got a link over there, STG Presents, put the link in there. Tickets are available. Show is tomorrow night at the Moore Theater. We're coming up on the end of the show here, Jake. Any last words before we get out of here?
I don't have a lot to say other than what's already been said today. I don't have a tagline like Treyana has every single day. I need to figure I need to figure one of those out. She got a good one. So
so here we go. I got a tagline for Jake. When in doubt, get another tattoo. All right, we're getting ready to get out of here. I guess that I'm getting ready to go and talk to the University of Washington, the news lab over there, to the advanced journalism students. So we'll see what they're talking about. Like I said, excited for tomorrow. Kyle Abraham will be joining us here on the set. And until then, want to remind you, go forward in your purpose, go forward in your humanity. Till tomorrow at 11 a.m. Peace.
What do I see through a lens of fear? 1,000 little steps to go. What do I fear after all these years? Lord knows I don't even know. I've been running on the edge of a sundial, sleeping in the shadow. I've been begging you to see me, then hiding beyond the unreachable. Looking out left on a right-hand turn, just trying to make a deal. A lazy shoes and love is a love that turn. That's the kind of food that heals. I've been searching for the end of an era, waiting to be ready. The world is bigger than a moment. Be steady, that's how you can feel it's real. But I feel naked in my new clothes, 'cause I got used to hiding the holes. This whole world got new tricks and I'm in the thick of it. This I swear I'm already sick of it. At least I found the antidote. Oh. I know no one is a shadow. I know no one is a shadow. I know no